At family dinner, Mom screamed, "Pay your sister's rent or get out!" When I refused, Dad slapped me in front of my son. I was bleeding on the floor. Dad laughed. "You deserve it for saying no." They had no idea what I would do next. The plate hit the wall right after the threat did. "Pay your sister's rent," Mom shouted, "or get the hell out of my house." I had just put a piece of cornbread in my 7-year-old son's plate. I froze. "What?" I asked calmly. My sister Jenna sat across from me, smug. No rent, no job, no shame. "You heard your mother," Dad added, sipping his beer. "Family helps family. Either you cover her rent again or you're out." I looked at my son, Micah, who was staring at me, confused. "No," I said softly. "I've already paid her rent 4 months this year." That's when it happened. Dad stood up, eyes wild, walked over, and I slapped me so hard my chair tipped. My head hit the edge of the table. Blood hit the tile. Micah screamed. Dad laughed. "You deserve it. That's what you get for saying no." My name is Elijah. I'm 33, and I've been quiet too long. I work full-time as a case manager at a public health nonprofit in Louisville, Kentucky. I was married once. She left. I got full custody of our son, Micah. He's the only good thing that's ever happened to me. I moved in with my parents 6 months ago after my landlord sold my rental. I was saving for a down payment. They welcomed me, or so I thought, but it wasn't for me. It was for my wallet. Meet the family. Mom, 59. Southern, religious, deeply manipulative, believes Jenna can do no wrong, calls me ungrateful when I say no. Dad, 61, retired construction worker, never believed therapy or boundaries were real. Says, "You don't talk back to parents, you obey." Jenna, 26. No job, multiple credit cards and collections, lives in a studio downtown she can't afford. Her dog has better clothes than Micah. The last line. They crossed. That night, after I cleaned my face and comforted Micah, I packed a bag. Mom followed me into the hallway. "Where are you going? You're being dramatic." "I told you I can't keep paying her bills." She hissed, "She's your sister, Elijah. What does a few $100s matter to you?" "It's not about the money, it's the entitlement, the violence," she scoffed. "Micah will be fine. Don't be soft." I left that night. Not just their house. I left the role of being their emotional and financial hostage. You want to play with blood? Let's talk paperwork. 3 days later, I spoke to a lawyer, not for a restraining order, for financial emancipation and custody protection. My parents had my name on a few emergency documents, including Jenna's rental application as a guarantor, forged years ago. I never knew. They also claimed me as a dependent last tax season while I was living in their home to get stimulus refunds. That's fraud. Micah's therapist also noted he had nightmares about Grandpa hitting Daddy. Everything clicked. I hit back without lifting a finger. I filed 3 formal complaints. 1. To the IRS, reporting dependent fraud and forged tax filings. To Jenna's landlord, removing my name from her rental via legal affidavit. 3. To my custody court, submitting an incident report and seeking a no-contact order with my father. I also reported them to Adult Protective Services, not because they're old, but because I wanted it on record that Micah and I would never return to a violent home. Their fall was quick and quiet. The IRS froze Dad's refund. Jenna's landlord hiked her rent and said she had 30 days or eviction. Mom called me 11 times in a day. I didn't answer. I got a court date. The judge granted me a protective boundary order, stating my son cannot be in the same residence as my father, without supervised permission. Micah is safe now. His nightmares stopped. I finally started sleeping again. I signed a lease last month for a small 2-bedroom duplex near Micah's school. It's nothing fancy, but it's peaceful. No one yells, no one bleeds. I blocked all of them, changed my emergency contacts, changed the locks on my spirit. Micah asked me last night, "Dad, are we ever going back to Grandma's?" I paused, not because I didn't know the answer, but because for the first time I had the freedom to say it out loud. "No, buddy, we're building our own place now." He smiled. "Good. They were mean to you." That moment did something to me, not just as a father, not just as a man, but as someone who grew up believing pain was just a price you paid to stay in the family. They broke me in front of my son. Let that sink in front of the one person I've protected through every storm. They treated me like a wallet with a face, a punching bag in khakis, an ATM with a pulse, and they laughed when I bled. But here's the thing about bleeding. It shows you where the wound is, and once you see it clearly, you know exactly where to start healing. I used to think walking away made me weak, that saying no was selfish, that choosing myself and my son in over family loyalty meant I was the problem. But now, I know better. I wake up now without the weight of unearned guilt. I cook breakfast while Micah hums cartoons behind me. He doesn't flinch at loud noises anymore. And I don't flinch when someone loves me gently. This peace isn't perfect. Some nights I still hear my dad's voice in my dreams. Sometimes I check my phone, expecting a guilt text from Mom. And part of me still wonders if Jenna even realizes what she cost me. But I remind myself, they don't get to live rent-free in my spirit anymore. They taught me pain. I'm teaching Micah peace. They taught me to stay silent. I'm teaching Micah that his voice matters. They taught me to break. But I broke the cycle instead. Has your own family ever used love as a leash? If you've ever been guilt-tripped, gaslit, or broken in front of your kids, like this video to show you're reclaiming your power. Subscribe. If you believe walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. And in the comments, tell us. If this happened to you, what would you have done? Or simply type, "I left too." Because someone out there needs to know they're not the only one. Recommendations for your audience. To every parent raising kids while healing from your own childhood, you are breaking chains your family never dared to name. That's heroic. To those who've been slapped, silenced, and still stood back up, you are not dramatic. You are done. And to every Elijah watching this, you don't owe anyone a seat at your table if they served you pain on every plate.